truly want from you. Okay, so this is also another great and wonderful question. And so, a lot of times, and I've had to learn this because I thought when I first started with social media, my audience wanted, perfection. And what did perfection look like for Taria? Like, my audience wanted all of the answers. And expected me to know all of the answers. And I'm going to tell you, it was one of the things that terrified me the most when I first started to do live videos. I actually used to, think in my mind, oh my goodness, what would happen if I turn on my camera and I am doing, a show, I'm doing a live, and someone gets on my live and they ask me a really hard question and I don't know the answer to the question. So, am I going to bomb? Am I going to fail? Am I going to freak out on live camera? Well, one of the things that I had to learn and understand is that, what? People really don't expect for you to be perfect. Okay. They expect for you to show up and be vulnerable, be transparent. And so, if there's a question on the floor that I didn't know the answer to, it's quite all right to say, I don't know the answer to that question. I'll go find it. I'll come back and I'll share that. And so I know that's the thing a lot of times that stop a lot of people from showing up on social media is that they think people want perfection. They think that people want them to have, all of the answers. And this is, how I go back into the hiding on social media. So, how many people on, your entrepreneurial journey, you're going through entrepreneurship and you hit a bump in the road, right? And when you hit that bump, it's almost like you disappear because you got to go figure things out. And then when you show back up again, you show back up all perfect. Okay. And I'm here to say that as people, as even as influencers, we all grow. And in order for us to grow, there's always going to be challenges. Okay. So challenges are the beautiful things. What people want to see is, how are you working through your challenges? How are you, the things that you're learning? And like I said, who are you required to become, as you continue on to this journey? And that, when I told you, when I heard that question for the first time, it became the question that started to ignite me. And I started to see things in a different light. So it isn't about me not experiencing challenges, like we all do. But as we take a look at the journey of, growing, who are we required to grow into? Who are we required to become to be able to hold that next level that we are called to be on? So yes, that's the thing. Like, people, most people don't expect for us, to show up and be perfect, right? They expect for us to be able to talk about those experiences, and they also expect for us, like, when we have the lessons, what did you learn? Okay. What did you learn in that process that you can share with someone else that would help them through their process as well? Okay. And so I see Stephanie. I don't know why I just don't keep my glasses on. So, Stephanie, I see you have a question. What do you do if your client doesn't follow your process and don't get the results and they're unhappy? How do you measure results when you're offering growth? Oh, Stephanie, that is such a great question. And it's one of the things in this space that I too face. And one of the things that I've learned how to do is to refer them back to the process. So I've had, and once again, I have a program. Let me just say this: I have a program that's called Content Plan for Profit, where I share with my clients, specific processes that would allow them to show up and position themselves in the marketplace, get their message out there, and build brand awareness. Okay. Now, I get all kinds of questions down to what should I, be talking about? What should I share? I don't know the pain points, of the things that my audience is struggling with, all the way to I did this and it didn't work. And oftentimes, Stephanie, when I do those calls and I start to backtrack and I say, did you do this? Did you do this? And let's take a look at this. Okay, what I find is like there are pieces that are missing. And so sometimes people have the tendency, to want to do the things that are comfortable, the things that come easy, the thing that comes natural to them. Okay, but the things that kind of challenge and push us a little bit, those are the things that we're resistant to. But oftentimes those are the things that's required to make the thing work. And so I'm going to just recover. I'm just going to cover this again because I started at the top of the broadcast, specifically talking about social media and the success cycle of social media. Now, I'm going to tell you this. When I started on the journey, Taria didn't know anything about a social success cycle. What I heard and what I was told is that social media has billions of people on it, and in a sea of billions of people, I can go ahead, position products and services, and because of the sheer number of people, people will buy, and I'll be successful on social media. Now, I'm going to tell you, the throwing the spaghetti on the wall will give you some success, okay? Because I've experienced some of that success. But here's the thing, here's what changed. That was early on in the days, back in the day. So as more people got tuned into social media and more entrepreneurs like myself started to position in the marketplace, social media became a very crowded place. And so the question became, what is it that I had to learn, to do in order, to sustain myself and build my brand on social media. And so that's when I learned that there's actually a cycle to this. Okay. And so I covered this in the top of the broadcast. There's actually 4 parts to it. So it's the social listening, social influence, social networking, and then social selling finally. And so going back to your question, Stephanie, when people say to me that they aren't getting results, usually one of the pieces is missing. Okay. And for each of those pieces requires strategy. It requires having a process in place, having a plan in place, to do all of those things effectively. Okay. And so, yes, if you have your process, you have your framework, Stephanie, and you find people, aren't following the process, refer them back to the process. Okay. Because after all, you are the expert. Okay, you are the expert. So I hope that answers your question. So I see that Peg is out there saying, "Oh, great question, Stephanie, and terrific answer, Taria. Thank you. Refer them back to the process." Yes, because if we don't refer people, back to our process, then what we do is we are diminishing our status as the expert. Now I'm going to tell you the reason why I could say this is that there have been times where I faltered. So sometimes you have, that one client that might be a little bit intimidating. How many of you have ever felt intimidated by a client? I know I have, right? And that client comes and says, "Hey, I did X, Y, and Z." And for some reason in your mind, you rethink your whole process. Okay? No. Okay? There's a reason why you have a process. There's a reason why you've developed the framework. Okay? So refer them back to the process. And like I said, that's the growth. Hold their feet, to the fire. And so, Stephanie, that leads into your next question. Have you ever fired a client? Now, child, let me tell you this. It is the hardest thing to do in business when to work with clients that are resistant to your process, they're not open to learning. And so, yes, the answer to the question is sometimes you gotta let them go. So someone could be a paying client, and let me be clear about this. So not all money is good money, Stephanie. Let me just say that. So if you have a client, and even though they're making their payments on time, the money is good. If they're not, I'm searching for the word. If they're not coachable, that is exactly the word. If they're not coachable, then you have to let them go. Because think about it. We did not step on into this journey to get up upset, uncomfortable, angry, all of that stuff. I know I didn't sign up for that. And when you get to the point where you have clients that you're dreading having calls with, you're dreading meeting those clients, then it's time to let the client go, because you're not going to be able to serve them in the manner that they deserve to be served. So it's okay to say, you know what, this isn't a fit. This isn't, working out, for both you and I. Okay, bless and release them. Okay, bless and release them, and then allow them, to work with someone else, who will be able to serve them, on the level that they need to be served on. Okay, and so yes, Stephanie, I have let clients go, and also clients who were, paying clients. Okay, so once again, if you are not coachable and you're not willing to do the work, then what's the point? And then so Stephanie is saying, do you refund or stop payments? Oh boy, Stephanie, this is going down a whole different track. We might need to have a call. We might need to have a call about that, Stephanie. Because that's not the direction I want to take this conversation in today. Okay, but I'll reach out to you, my dear. Okay, and I'll have a call with you around that. Okay, and so I see Facebook user is saying out there, they understand I'm the consultant, the dictator, my way, yet will listen to you and take what they say into consideration. If it double, yeah. If not, tell why it isn't, why it isn't, and keep it moving. Pushback by Felicia or Fred. Okay, so I don't know who the Facebook user is. Okay, so that's Nisi. Hi, Nisi. And I know Nisi will always bring the real to the conversation. So Nisi said, hey, look, one thing you need to know here is that I'm the expert. So I like that, Nisi. I'm the expert. Okay, and so and Nisi is also bringing up a good point. So this is the thing that I talk about in clients being coachable. So there's a difference, okay, in having a client that you are working with and they're coachable and they have concerns. So maybe they're working, on something, or implementing, a process, and they're having hiccups. Okay, it's one thing to say, to bring back and say, hey, look, I did this XYZ, that didn't work for me. What else can I do? Can we take a look at this? Can we map out something? And then you're journeying along with the client. So that's how I like to put it. Okay, like I'm right there with you. Okay, so I'm taking a look at all of these things, but the thing that I'm talking about that's not acceptable is the client who is totally resistant. Okay, and so if there's a process and you're not following the process, you don't want to do the work. Okay, then what's the point? Okay, so if you're doing the work and this is the data that's coming back, this is, what you experience, we could always flush those things out. But for you to not do the work, that's a whole totally different situation. Okay, so Peg, I love you. I love you. Y'all are breaking it down today. So Peg is saying clients that create frustration and aggravation cannot possibly pay enough to make it worth it. all that. No refund, cut the cord and move on, open a space for new and wonderful clients. And Peg, you are absolutely correct because, like I said, it's one of the things that I've learned, on my journey. Okay, is that I did not step on to this journey, to be frustrated and have people frustrated with me. Okay, and it's actually in my vision. I say it all the time. I work with beautiful people in beautiful spaces. That's the thing, and we're locking arms and we're journeying together. Okay, and so nowhere in that is the rub and is the frustration and the fight. It should not be that fight. Okay, and so like I said, there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that there are bumps along the way and how you're working through the bumps, but for a client to not heed to your expertise, totally unacceptable. Okay, all right. And so great conversation, ladies. You guys kept me on my toes this morning. So the next thing that I want to take a minute to jump into, what does it take, to create your message in the marketplace? And Peg, I'm so glad that you joined us this morning. So take a minute, to, if you would like to, like, some of the things that you have learned to do, like in your business, in order to create your message in the marketplace. And so while, I'm just singling, I just called your name, Peck, because you said that you're the message creator. You're helping people create their message. So I'd like to, hear from you. But anybody else, what is it that you're doing, out there? That would help you develop your message in the marketplace. And so one of the things that I'm just gonna go ahead and share. This is one of the things that I did not get also earlier on when I started, when I launched my brand the first time. And I thought that it was all about sharing the how of what I did, like the tips or tools, or this is what you need to do. Okay. And I really didn't understand that I had a message to share. Okay. And one of the things that it took for me in order to put the messaging together is that I had to go back and really address, those things that I was challenged with. And so you hear me talk about, how to stop hiding on social media. And so one of the things that prompted me to have that be a part of my message is because those are the things that I struggled with. Those are the things that I was challenged with. Okay. Hiding out on social media. So, and like I said, I understand fully that with social media, part of it is technology, but the technology isn't the biggest thing. The biggest thing is what goes on, up here in our minds. And as influencers, how do we take all of the things that we're challenged with, all of the things that we're learning and we're growing into, and package that, as beautiful messaging into the marketplace that acts, as a beacon. That's what I like to say. It acts like a shining light in the marketplace that would allow us to attract, our divine people, the people who we are specifically called to serve. Okay. And I had to understand that and I had to learn that. And it was one of the things, going back to you, Stephanie, in saying that, what? I'm not here to serve everyone. Okay. There are people that I'm divinely called to serve. But you know what? Those people won't be able to find me unless I show up. Okay. So, what does it take for me to show up and show up consistently, be the expert in the marketplace, be seen as the authority, build relationships, all of that good stuff? Okay. And then be able to serve them through my products and services. Okay. So if you haven't been thinking about that, that's what it's all about. We all have a message, to share out there. And so what are you putting in place that would allow you to share your message online? Okay. And so I'm going to opening it up once again for any more questions, any more shares. This has been such a great conversation this morning. So thank you so much for your input. And so Peg is saying, I tune in for Turia's lessons weekly, and I learn lots from other influencers too. Know who you can learn from and be consistent in that learning, and then apply what I've learned. See what works best, learn more, wash, rinse, repeat. The consistent action is magic. And Peg, you have hit it directly on the head. Okay. And it's all about what are we learning. And so one of the things that I share with my clients, and I'll just share with everyone, it's all about being in the state of consistent learning. Okay. So in your field, who are you studying? Okay. And all the way around, do you have a process for learning? And even learning has a process. So do you have a process, that would allow you to stay in a constant state of learning and growing? What does that look like? And so, for me, one of the things that I do, like every single morning, I read, I journal, I read and journal. Okay. Read and journal. And the things that I read, I journal. What am I learning from those things? Okay. I'm committed to learning new things in my industry. And the things that I'm learning in my industry, how am I implementing those things? So, am I going out there? Am I testing it? Am I testing it on my brand first? Am I doing it for myself first? And then after I've done it, for myself, what have I learned from that? What worked? What didn't work? Okay. What do I need to change? What was the piece that I saw that was missing, that this influencer, didn't talk about or didn't share, because they have a totally different experience, or they're at a different level in their business than I am in my business. Okay. So all of these things are important things. Okay. And then when you have, like I said, the framework, you have the blueprint that works. Okay. Then you go ahead, you teach it. Okay. Is it working for others? What needs to be tweaked? And after you got it, then I love what Peg says: wash, rinse, repeat. Love it, love it, love it.